Lifestyle with Jomo. Weekdays 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. CAT.
Oh yes, indeed. 35 minutes after 12 p.m. Central African time. And as I said to you today, I've been chilling with the main man himself, aka Nollywood bad boy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you for having me.
I'm great. I've been out here, literally just anticipating you come through. And now the moment of truth is here.
There we are.
Actually, thank you so much for actually joining us in studio today.
I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to actually have you here. So, it's your story is a huge story and, a huge lifetime of movies and, everything that you've been doing. For those that don't know, your story, where did it all begin? Where did it all begin for Mr. Jim Iyke?
Wow, we're looking for a summary right now.
Yeah.
Well, it started quite over a decade ago. I trained in a whole different field. I trained to be a psychologist, a banker for my second degree, and somehow I, ran into a producer that got me started on my lifelong pursuit, as it were. And the parents weren't taking it lightly, and eventually got kicked out of the house. My dad said simply, "There can't be two captains in the house. You either pursue, your path in life, and or you stop it." And I wasn't going to stop it. My conviction was clear. My understanding was also quite clear. So I went out to fend for myself. I pursued my dream as relentlessly as I could, and as God will have it, here we are. It's quite a long journey.
A decade later, we're here speaking about about your life as a whole. So moving, is that when moving from Gabon, going to start this career?
Yes.
Can we safely say that the blessings were there, but they were not fully committed to say you're gonna make it?
No, I didn't have. The thing is, with African parents, a family as a whole, I didn't have any background of the arts. No one was an actor or painting even or a sculptor. There was nothing that gave an indication whatsoever that any one of us was going to do this for a living. So it was met with the greatest opposition, the greatest rejection. Gabon, my early days in Gabon, I was born and raised in Libreville. My dad was a construction foreman, and we were there till I was 8 years old. We also had a stint in Cameroon and Leon as well. I was the only one that gave an amazing ability to adapt easily in every time we moved. Yeah. So my mom was quite an astute businesswoman. She stayed back in Libreville, where she established a mini empire of sorts, and my dad was the hustler. So he took me with him everywhere he went. And after 8 years, we came back home and, established. He came back to build a dam. It's called Usman Dam in Abuja. And, the life went on from there. On to secondary school. I went to a federal school called FGC Abuja. And then I was done with uni by 19, and I was getting set to go for my master's when I told them. I gave them the first shock when I came home and said, "Hey, I have an announcement." Everybody said, "What?" I said, "I'm going to be an actor." They said, "Get out of here." Are you serious? I was an excruciatingly shy kid. I still am in a sense, but you learn to deal and manage with it. And then they said, "No, you're the guy that will come downstairs to greet your own family." And so how will you even face a camera? Yeah. I think more than anything else, that's what convinced my dad I was going to be an abject failure in this thing. because there was nothing. You didn't study it. Yeah. You can't look people in the eye in the way I was that kid. I had my nose buried in a book all the time and in front of a TV. I wasn't. I think I was a social misfit because every time I went out to play football, my skills were terrible. They only kick me out.
Next the two of us,
you can relate to that. So the only place I found succor were my books, my TV. Yeah. My sisters always thought he's so weird, but I am. And I would start a fight on behalf of my sisters. I'll make friends, and then they'll try and hit on my sisters, and I'll fight them, and so I'll get kicked out of the group.
You gotta always look out for the sisters.
Yeah, you know. And I had 6 of them. I'm the only guy, so it was a huge task. But you know, I love the way I started out, my humble beginnings.
So for me, then it actually really brings the question to say, you know, having been such a academic, you know, teenager, academic boy, where did this acting bug bit you? You know, what movie is it that you were watching?
I promise you, I do not know. I do not know. I've been asked this question for the umpteenth time, and every time I'd go back and go through the theories of processing it, my theories of introspection, I can't pinpoint exactly when it happened. It's just when he told me, I served in a bank. There was a 1-year compulsory service period. So while I was in the bank, you know, I was the kid. I was always breaking the rules. I would show up in jeans and t-shirt and with a blazer. And they were like, "No, you can't come out. You're a banker, for crying out loud. You need to dress properly." I got suspended twice. You know, so but the funny thing is that they wouldn't let me go. I was getting all the clients. Everybody wanted to gravitate me. I had great positive energy. I had something smart or witty to say to my customers. But there was this particular customer that kept telling me, "You don't belong here." Yeah. I'm telling you, he's a producer. The fun thing that I don't even know where the man is now. He kept telling me, "You don't belong here. I want you to visit us on set sometime when you're in Lagos, and see how it happens." So one day I went out. I was on holidays. I went to set. And Ramsey Noah was there, Iyke was there, you know, Chidi Mokum, all the big actors I was looking up to. You know, they were like 4 or 5 years in the business already. So, you know, I played a small part, a snooker game. But I promise you, that time, that very moment you find your purpose in your life, your place in the order of life, it will shake you to your core. And I think that's what happened. Immediately I came out of there, I looked at my friend and said, "I think something just happened to me. Yeah. I found my home."
I definitely found the home. Yeah. I mean, going into it, I would say that's literally a humble beginning to be given, a part where that is your, you introspect and say, "This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." The challenges, I would figure that, especially at the time in which, the music, the movie scene, the directing, was just so, what's just so primary and at the beginning. What were the challenges as a beginner? No experience, love this craft, think that you're going to do this for a very long time. What were the challenges, that you faced when you came into it? The big stars and everyone who had already established themselves. Now you coming into that environment.
Nobody would give me a chance because I think my focus was primarily a little larger than life. How can you be a nobody in an industry as diverse as that, and you decide you will not play small roles? I would come in, they would tell me, "Okay, you know what? The big names are here. We have a 5-6 scene role. Why don't you play it and back them up?" I refused. I refused roles for 1.5 years. And I promise you something, I was the brokest kid there. I had not a dime in my pocket. I would turn up with the same jean and t-shirt every time, clean of course, but they knew financially this dude was going through something very intense, but I refused small roles because I knew where I was going. I understood what my path was. And more than anything else, it's what makes me so grateful and why I'm so involved with charity and all the fundamentally great causes out there. I think it's one of the things that also align me through the universe, I would say, to Matthew Mensah. We spoke a like voice as regards how to give back, how to return so much favor that's been given to you that you feel honestly sometimes that you don't deserve, or you feel, why was it you that was chosen? But I remained on that path. I primarily knew that to start small would mean small all the way, or work my way up. So for 1.5 years, I didn't get work. They refused me because, what would they do with this kid when all the big names were there? We can't take a chance and give you a big role.
We have the big people
big people already. But, a chance comes. Somebody must move for another person to occupy a space. So after Hollywood happened, 80% of the biggest stars in Nollywood had to travel to London. First travel for most of them, so they got carried away and stayed longer than planned. And so there was a vacancy, and they said, okay, where's that kid that keeps rejecting roles? Now we have big actresses, but no lead actor. So they will place 2 big actresses, put me in there, and boom, I did about 6 or 7 before they came back. By the time they came back, they kicked me to the curbs again.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that was the mistake, because all 6 turned out to be the biggest selling movies of all time in that time.
Yo,
Yeah,
so big story.
Yes, in less than 1 year, I was deciding who amongst them would be on the next set.
That's because you persisted in not being in the small roles. Definitely persisted.
It speaks a lot for resilience.
Yo, listen. So after this, I'm gonna take a musical break a little bit, and I want to get into how you accumulated this Nollywood bad boy title. You know, I mean, for me, I'm like, yeah, well, no, I kind of know, but you know, how did you take that? And you know, how
trust
did you
me,
take it in your
you don't
strides?
know.
It's 45 minutes after 12 p.m. Central African time. You tune into #Lifestyle with myself, Jomo. Today I'm chilling out here with Jim Iyke, who's actually telling us about all the good things in his careers that are coming through. I'm going to pick up his brain also in terms of the music that he likes. You know, I want to see who he supports in the beefs that are happening in music as well. But anyway, here's one coming through from Silverstone and Frank T. Blukas, all the way from Sierra Leone and Ghana, representing. Also, make sure that you want to ask any questions to Jim. Please make sure that you send us a message. +27792543329.
This is Trans Africa Radio.
Yeah, if you didn't know, now you know I'm chilling in studio with Jim Iyke. We're definitely giving you nothing but some good jams, and also getting into his craft as well. I'm going to call him the Nollywood superstar, because you are a superstar.
Thank you. That's a lot better than Bad Boy.
So, coming to that,
I knew you were going to let me go.
How did it happen?
Listen. I'm a grown-ass man right now.
Yeah.
Forgive my French, you know, but I'm a grown folk right now. But, you know, you go through the crazy days when, you know, you come into money, you come into prominence and a little degree of fame, and you think all of a sudden you think God. So there were a lot of fights and disagreements, and you know what I mean, and I won't back down even when I was wrong. You know, so
ain't no guy's gonna back down.
No, the name was a little apt, but after a while I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't want it, but I was grown, I was advanced, I was on my path to understanding how this works, and a great deal of humility, and life had bent me adequately to understand how things work and give props to whom it's due. But then it was late, a lot of people had latched onto it. It became more or less a claim to fame, but you know, I'm not sweating it now. There's so many definition of bad boyism in a sense, if you ask me. I mean, you can easily call some of the leaders of thoughts and greatest CEOs of our time, entrepreneurs, as bad boys. I think anybody that has the guts to go against the grain and create something out of doubtful circumstances and push his agenda or his cause beyond the grain, and and is strong enough to question the status quo and challenge the establishment. In a sense, that's a bad boy, but in a positive way. It depends on the vibe you give. It's not about tearing down, destruction, or carrying negative vibes or violence. It's about preaching a good message and standing up for people that may be not strong enough to stand up for themselves. And that's, if I'm termed as a bad boy in that regard, by all means, bring it on.
Yo, I actually like that, because, you know, the positivity that comes from that, and, you know, having grown from that, and actually defining what Nollywood bad boy became, which is now, which we've actually moved away from. So we were just talking off air now about, the different musicians that you love. And I think you can share with the rest of us, who are listening, as to some of your greatest musicians that you're listening to.
Well, first and foremost, my boy Timaya, I think, is the greatest musician that I've walked through Africa in a sense. I love Timaya. No, as a fan, than a brother, you know, and Timaya is he thinks I'm the greatest thing since ice cream, but that's not the point. I just think his sustenance. He's a businessman. He's very smart. Believe me, we've done 2 projects together in real estate, and you know, he's that kind of quick person. When there's a great deal, he calls me up and says, "Hey, bro, I know you're more on that business lane. Check it out. If it's good, get me in." And when I have something that's good for my brother, I call him in as well. I like YC. I think his He's musically smart. He understands what is going on with it. He's taking his time. He's pacing it. Some people think, okay, he drops it and backs up, but he understands. Wizkid is going beyond the green right now. He's going beyond the borders. I think he's pushing it harder than everyone else, and I really give him kudos for that. He's breaking barriers. Davido is Davido. Trust me, there can be two. There will never be a Davido. David is one of those people you run into with everything that you've heard. He's very humble, he's very respectful, and he's full of gifts. Davido is going to be in for a long time, so I think a lot of people better get used to that.
I mean, I think it actually just brings me to the conversation around the relationship that you share, and as the relationship that's shared between Nollywood stars, actors, producers, you can name it, with musicians, the craft itself, the relationship that's
there's a thin line between us. It's an art form too, and it's expressed in different ways. But guess what? Our visuals are interpollinated in a sense. Our courses, our arts is interpollinated. You can't have a good song without a good video. They're there. That's where you need us now. You can't have a good film without good songs, soundtracks on it. That's where we need them. So you see, it becomes a wholeness. It becomes one. One can go without the other. It might even suffice to say that a good actor should one way or the other be a good musician, or at least knowledgeable as regards that. And a good musician, one way or the other, should know something about filmmaking as well.
Intertwined.
Man. Our destinies are woven.
Yo, you've been a part of a lot of movies.
Yes, too many.
And a lot of movies. And it's a good thing because it actually just goes to show the caliber of actor that you are. Do you ever struggle going to the mall and someone goes and says, hey, I remember, and goes and, calls you by the name of a character that you used to call, and doesn't want to believe that you're anything else but that?
I've had I think every day is a day of frenzy. There are three categories of fans. The ones that come about it, approach you nicely, politely, and ask if it's okay to get into your space. Then the ones that do not need your permission, they just come in there with all kinds of vibe and everything. They actually think your reaction becomes an obligation to them. You react wrongly, you get cussed out. If you react the right way, that's a good day for them. The third is the freezing stage. They don't care who they're with, what is going on. They don't care your mood. They're the craziest fans. They will stalk you down and troll you to no end. And those ones are always bordering on the thin line that if for any reason they sense a rejection, they go overboard and turn to a hate situation, a proper hate situation that you find in your hands. Managing it will be an uphill task.
But you survived this.
But look at me, man. But you don't want to know my story, though. You don't want to know stories in Paris where people have opened the doors and they're in their bathrooms and threatening me. Will yell if you don't open the door. You don't want to know wives that have had their husbands slap them for acting like teenagers. And you don't want to know the quiet one that walk up to you and say, hi, you look good. Can I take a picture? If you embarrass me and say no, trust me, I will do things you will never believe. And I'll quietly say, yeah, let's do it.
But at least you've survived this, and and it actually just goes to show that people appreciate your work. So would you ever say that there's any with the challenges maybe on when in the acting side of it, would you ever say that there's a character that you never played to the fullest?
Yes, sir. Earlier in my career, the character breakdown, the treatment, I would not go that in depth in it. For me, it was about transmuting from who I am to the character that I was given to play. And in that regard, my chief focus then was how to play this character, the physical part and perhaps the mental part of the character to the hilt. Now, I think this is what I call the advanced stage of method acting. I research who it is. I research what you're supposed to be before you became who you are. I research what you're going to be. In the instance, we go further in your life. Then I research at that moment how my individuality and flair can merge with this character so that it won't look like I'm struggling to a professional eye. That's one where people make mistakes. You can study a character to the T, but believe me, at the end of the day, I'll give you an example. Perhaps the character is left-handed. You play a left-handed character, and you're a right-handed person. You will see the struggle. I don't care if you're Al Pacino, you will see to a very subtle degree the struggle. Now, what a man like me would do is, I mean, an actor, my standard at this point would do is how to convert that character to a right-handed, character. So at the end of the day, it comes naturally. There's a fluidity to it. It's a seamless transition from some of the features that I already inhibit in myself with the character that I'm going to exhibit at that point. So I think those are some of the trade secrets and secrets of the business that allow people.
Someone wants to be an actor out there has the secret.
Yeah, you better believe that. Own it, and that's what they mean by owning it. It's not about the substance and anything. Find what is comfortable around you, then merge it into the character. Trust me, that's the easiest way to go.
Most certainly, you're not only an actor, filmmaker, producer, but you're a philanthropist as well.
Yes, sir.
A person that's really involved in the active changing of other people's lives, impacting other people's lives. Can we talk a little bit about that as to, because people get into it for different reasons. Others, know the struggle. Others do this and that. What led you specifically to, actively be a philanthropist that is active and doing so many things? I mean, now you're in South Africa and you, with your partner here, you're busy with a lot of stuff that, to assist people's lives. Can you talk a little bit about that?
A lot of people deem generosity as an extension of guilt. You begin to question, why am I this blessed? Why is my life a little easy? Why are difficult things happening in my life? And yet, and you think giving becomes the meeting point where how you can mitigate your sense of guilt. You need to get above that. Okay. I think one of the reasons you have to do is find people of like minds, people that have a higher calling than you do, because not everybody is born with it. I promise you, at some point, your chief focus will become your career, will become whatever it is anybody in your space can make out of it. It's a very selfish way of existing, believe me. So you find men of like mind, but with a higher purpose, men that started this from the onset without a proper reason. Because your reasons are modeled up now. It becomes relative as to, okay, why am I doing this? Is it because I'm afraid of being criticized? Is it because I just feel, okay, I'm so blessed, I have to give back at some point, or my blessings will begin to regress? So for me, it was Matthew Mensah. I've known Matthew a long time. Matthew could have simply been anything from a scientist to a businessman to a bush boy, anything he wanted to be, basically, or even a beach bum. But he likes to think he's pretty. So so at the end of the day, I looked at the man and I'm like, okay, what drives this guy? Why is he so involved in charity? And, there was no specific reason because of his background. So that's what you need. You don't need a specific reason. The singular reason is just to be a better human being, sleep better at night, to share your gifts, your resources, and your time with people that are less privileged. And I think that's the greatest honor. That's the higher purpose I think everybody's looking for. Many times we've known each other for over a decade. I dare say 14 years. Every time I had some sort of charity, Jamaica Foundation were very much in so many causes, walks, raising funds and all that. He's always the one that comes to put it together. And when I'm in South Africa or Ghana or Sierra Leone, or in many of the other African countries of where people of their need, I things are happening, especially war situation. Even when Ebola was going on in Liberia, he was there. I was there as well. I mean, we narrowly, trust me, by hair's breadth escaped the tragedy over there. But I think that is what we've decided to do, to give selflessly. So coming down to Joburg now, he runs a home in Helbon. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Hilbon?
Yep, Hillbrow, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a home for children that went through theories of trafficking and abuse, and that is the house, the shelter house, where they're gently eased back into the larger society, into community, by gaining back their confidence and teaching them that the wholesome of who they are is in themselves. So he brought me over there, and there's nobody that came there that wasn't moved to tears. And he runs a home that I believe there are over 35 kids at present. From all over Africa. We had a good time, hung out with them, drama skits, took them shopping, made their day. That is how I want to fulfill my life. And by a greater extent, we're going further with some of the biggest personalities in this land to organize a youth conference where we address the specific problems and get people to know that xenophobia, poverty, and the focus on the girl child as an education platform, it's probably one of the greatest advancement Africa can do for themselves and for the youth sector. So we have all these things in place, so many things coming up. I can't even begin to enumerate them right now, but people will understand as we go.
Most certainly, people definitely are going to understand because the work that you do actually speaks for itself.
Yes.
It's 1 minute after 1 p.m. Central African time. We're going to play one of his favorite artists. I'm going to surprise you with the title. I know which artist you like, so I'm going to just throw in the song there. And if you like it, you'll definitely jam to it. If you just join us, you tune into #LifeStyle with myself, Jomo, chilling today with Iyke, Nollywood superstar, actor, philanthropist. So I can give him a lot of titles, but he's here in the studio today and he's sharing the day with us. Make sure that you send us any messages or any questions that you'd like to personally ask him to +27 7925 44329. On Twitter, we are TransAfrica872.
This is TransAfrica Radio.
And yes, as I said to you guys, we're chilling in the studio with Nollywood superstar Iyke, who's actually telling us about the work that he's done. And also, there's a new project that he's working on. And I'm actually going to go into that. So you're working on something new. You're shooting in Cape Town.
Yes.
Tell us details, because all we saw is tabloids like, Nigerian superstar in South Africa. We're like, hey, what's happening now? So, we have you here to tell us what's happening.
It's called The Adventurer. It's a lifestyle life coach show. Basically, what we're doing is we take people from different diverse backgrounds irrespective of status, class, religion, creed, idiosyncrasies. We take you from your background and we take you to exotic locations all over the world. We've mapped out Sydney, we've mapped out Kazakhstan, we've mapped out Cape Town, Durban, we've mapped out Paris, we've mapped out Doha. We have 12 cities. So, but for season 1, our chief focus is South Africa. So we're doing Joburg, Cape Town, and Durban, and Hilborn, and all the great places out here. So basically, we take them, put them in there, and then by coexisting while you're going through different areas of challenges that will task you mentally, physically, intellectually, you begin to force a different narrative. Imagine taking someone that is predominantly from a Muslim background to one that's a Christian background, for one that's a pagan, and and interpose them together, juxtapose their beliefs together, and then they begin to understand why this one is different, why this one is this way. It stretches your tolerance, it makes you broaden your horizon, and then by the time you go back to your communities, to your state, by a wider stretch, the country, there will be a better tolerance for your brother man, for the next person, for your neighbor. And I think that's what we're trying to do. It's a program that not only bothers on the entertainment aspect, social aspect, it bothers on the political and geo-economics sectors of our continent. In season 2, we intend to take a broader perspective of it and engage Africa as a whole. Pick our contestants from all over Africa. So this is the medium one. This is the novel edition. When we gain the recognition and clout that we require, then we'll move on from there. So the adventure is going to be, I promise you, one of the greatest things to hit Africa in a long time.
It actually really sounds as a great show that's coming through. I'm actually just wondering, how do you choose the contestants? What's the criteria?
It's random. There's no specific selection process. You buy our token, that's our card, for 1,000 naira, which is, trust me, when you make the exchange, it's nothing. So 1,000 naira, and then you get on www.theadventurer.tv and play the game. That the number on the cards affords you access to as a token into the game. You answer 2 questions. Questions are honorable, any Nigerian can answer, and that makes you eligible for selection. So from the whole thing, we'll put everybody together, randomly dip our hands and pick out names. At the end, 16 will be picked, 8 male, 8 female. And with them, when you get to that stage of selection, you naturally win 300,000 naira straight up.
Yeah.
And then by the time we take you abroad for the final challenges and everything, at the end of the day, the last man standing walks away with $10,000 with a brand new car and a mentorship along the lines of any focus or any career of choice that you have.
Yo, a fresh of breath air from all these other things that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
It's literally a fresh of breath air. So
absolutely.
when it comes to nationality, is it something that only applies to Nigerians, only to...
For season one.
For season one.
Only Nigerians, because we're trying to find our ground, our foundation. So Nigerians to the world, we're exporting our culture now. But from season 2, there are 3 seasons in a year. So season 2, this first season is in Cape Town. Season 2, we're moving to another country,
Yes.
of course. So for season 2, it becomes an engagement for Africa as a whole, as a platform, as a continent. Anybody from Swaziland to Namibia to Kenya, just come on, man, and then if you're strong enough to make it
It's definitely going to be a uniting factor.
absolutely.
Indeed. So actually, a lot of countries now want to replicate. I don't know if that's a good. They want to replicate the success story that Nollywood is.
Yes,
and in the sense of speaking from a Trans-African point of view, where it's good. It's good that other countries want what Nigeria has. What do you think would be the best approach to it when it comes to making the Nollywood idea an African idea?
Nollywood was born out of individuality and flair and a vacuum to feed the needs and the propensity of our people. The government apparently were not filling that quota adequately, as it were. So for economic and social reasons, not only primarily to engage the youth in creative and constructive work, they had to create something for themselves out of nothing. It pretty much preaches the fact that always think of what you can do for yourself, not what the country can do for you. Nollywood was born out of that theme, out of that concept, out of that propensity. So people looked around and didn't find proper jobs. Nobody had money, or nobody was going to go through the difficult task of getting a visa to go to America, to go to Hollywood or Bollywood. So we had to create our own. Our content were basically fundamentally ours, something that the next man, the grassroots person, could relate to. The so-called elites later caught on and latched onto it because of the economic values. We all know that. But it served its purpose. It put food on the table for people that hitherto didn't have anywhere to go. It brought male and female between the ages, that the age stratas that if they were not adequately engaged can end up being the most dangerous strata of our polity. So that's what informed and created the entity called Nollywood. So I dare say, for every country that wants to replicate this, dig into your fiber, the fiber of your roots. Replicate it with your own individuality and flair, not just with another person. You can copy the substance, but you can't replicate the verb, the concept itself.
Yeah.
It becomes what it is. No matter how you thrive, it will always be what it is, a copy. So originate yours. Originality and flair and individual is what it's all about. Our story is diverse, it's deep, it's wide. It comes from histories before us. Every country has its own story, its own history. So nobody's looking for history. Our content is more than adequate. So when you dig into yours, a Kenyan film is a Kenyan film. It is Kenya to the world. A South African film is amazing. It will attract all kinds of attention because people want to know what makes these people tick. Their history as a person, the history of apartheid, the history of post-apartheid, the history of the black men in South Africa, and the white enterprise as well. So there's enough here. So I think that's what people are missing. The fact that every time Nollywood is brought in as a case study, people want to replicate it verbatim.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
Originality, do not replicate it, make it your own.
Make it your own. Take it and make it your own.
Definitely. 14 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. It's bringing us to a close of the interview, but I still gotta pick your brain because we have a few questions that are coming from the listeners right over here. I got another one from your favorite musician. This one is one from YC, featuring Malik Berry, who definite good producers and good artists as well. It's called Juice.
Yeah, oh, that's my
I know
thing.
you like that one.
Oh yeah, I bump to it in the bathroom. That's my bathroom song right there.
15 after 1 p.m. Central African time. As I said, we're still in the studio with Jim Iyke. Make sure that you send us those last questions on +27 7925 44329.
This is Trans Africa Radio.
Bringing us to the closure of the interview itself. What a wonderful time we've literally had with Jim Iyke.
Thank you.
We're excited. You can see the buzz in the studio and everywhere, of your presence over here.
Yeah.
Before we actually let you go, there's one question coming through from Sillo, who's in South Africa, Pretoria, who says, what's the one actor that you loved acting around or acting with?
I did a movie with it's an older actor, His name is Olu Jacobs. First time out. The man's grandeur, his expressions, the depth of his voice, his courage. Trust me, you want to get older as an actor like that. Yeah, so I drew a lot of inspirations from him. He taught me a lot. I'm not the kind of man that asks questions. I'm more of the observer. I keep quiet when everybody's making all the noise, and I just steal everything I can mentally. So for him, when he's up there and he's doing his thing, I find a quiet corner and I observe. I turn to a sponge, and that's what he does to me. When I see something that I think I should acquire mentally, I just sponge it, and draw as much as I can. So Olu Jacobs does it for me in a sense.
And the last question we're going to ask you is, we play 100% African music.
Yes.
And not only that, but we invest a lot in African content to Africa. So we actually, endorse that. What do you think about this 100% quota and the whole African, African content movement?
You advocate your own, your transparency. Again, I reiterate about individuality and flair has to be your own. I've been all over the world. I was in the Caribbeans, all they play is Caribbean music. They would not advocate another music. I've been to America. We all know if it's not hip hop or rap or something, every other thing is substandard out there. Salsa is indigenous to the people that play it as well. The Italians, you can't touch their music. You will get French people. When I'm in Paris, I'm telling you, they see it as an affront. If you play any other music, they're not speaking French. So what is wrong with Africa? What is wrong with us advocating and advancing our own cause, our own music? Our music is rich, it's cultural. It's a kaleidoscope of colors. It's one of the most beautiful enterprise ever. It's our greatest export. Don't be fooled about it. And right now it's gaining global prominence, as we all know. Everybody's getting into Afrobeat. Everybody's trying to get an Afrobeat artist on their label and on their songs. Everybody's trying to advance that same cause. So the people that trust me mentally, that are regressing it, I think they're an impediment not only to themselves but to the culture as a whole.
Indeed, it's been a pleasure having you here today, and I appreciate the work that you do. Many more years. Definitely looking forward to that production. That's going to slay a lot of people in the industry.
Caller 25 coming right up in your face next quarter of next year.
Indeed, that's Jim Iyke coming through right here on #LifeStyle. Do make sure that you follow him on Twitter. It's Jim Iyke Official. And let's definitely do the most. I'm going to play one more that's coming through from you. Thank you so much for actually coming here.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it for having me.
Indeed, it's 22 minutes after.
This is Trans Africa Radio.